In February 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee, some 1,300 sanitation workers, members of Local 1733 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, began a strike. This wasn't an ordinary strike. We forged together a coalition of the religious community, the civil rights community, and the labor movement. It was a struggle for freedom, for dignity, for decency, for equality.
Back in those days, we had to do this to live. The treatment that we were getting. Sometimes I just feel like tears are coming my eyes.
And we just got tired. We had meeting and discussed it and said, we're going to do something about it. Said there ain't but one thing to do, is just to make our move. And you know, a man has got to have a strong mind to go out in the street, leave his job, and go out in the street.
We felt like we would have to let the city know that because we were sanitation workers, we were human beings. The signs that we were carrying said that I am a man, then we was going to demand to have the same dignity and the same courtesy any other citizen of Memphis has.
We are saying that we are determined to be men. We are saying that we are God's children.
After a few days, we found that the strike was more than just a recognition and economic strike. It was a social struggle in this society. We talked, they didn't listen. Management and the establishment here wanted no relationship with unions whatsoever.
The mayor particularly got completely hung up on this one issue, as that he was not going to recognize the existence of public unions.
When a public official orders a group of men to get back to work and then we'll talk, and treats them as though they are not men, that's a racist point of view. And no matter how you dress it up in terms of whether or not a union can organize, it's still racism. For at the heart of racism is the idea that a man is not a man.
We thought we had reached an understanding during a meeting of the Public Works Committee.
The council will meet tomorrow.
Committee Chairman Fred Davis gave us a promise.
That the council recognize the union and that there'll be some form of dues check-off for the union.
We were told to meet with the council. When we got there, one of the most crude charades in the many years I've represented working people took place.
When they told me there'd be an honest council meeting today, and you and I would have a chance to talk to this council, I regret I believed them. They lied to me and they lied to you.
We decided to march to the Claiborne Temple. And as soon as we got out there, some of the police officers, not all of them, began hassling some of our folks. And I remember intervening and promised them faithfully that these men did not believe in violence, that the union did not believe in violence. We started a march, and we moved down there, and police cars were used to harass us and push us around, and this was a turning point.
I don't know who it was. Somebody hollered and said, break it up. And they just broke right on us. And honest folk God in heaven, and they sprayed so much of that stuff down my collar until I could feel it look like running down my back.
My eyes, they shot that stuff in both my eyes. Couldn't see nothing.
We built into our planning the escalation principle in order to help momentum build. Mass meetings every night, daily marches of the workers and clergy, and then sit-ins at the City Hall, which resulted at least one time in major arrest of many of us. In the meantime, I had been talking with Dr. Martin Luther King about his support and about his coming in order to both identify the struggle with himself and to help the people in the community identify the struggle in terms of a nonviolent campaign.
You are demanding that this city will respect
the dignity of labor. So often we overlook the worth and the significance of those who are not in professional jobs, of those who are not in the so-called big jobs. But let me say to you tonight that whenever you are engaged in work that serves humanity and is for the building of humanity, it has dignity and it has worth. You are reminding not only Memphis, but you are reminding the nation that it is a crime for people to live in this rich nation and receive starvation wages.
On March 28th, Dr. Martin Luther King led a march here in Memphis in support of the sanitation workers. This was one of the few times when his staff did not organize the march. Some of the young people saw this as an opportunity to demonstrate their frustration and what they considered the slowness with which the community leadership was moving. They began to break out windows and disrupt the march. This gave the policemen an opportunity to move in, to break up the march in an effort to discredit Dr. Martin Luther King and the local leadership.
When we came back downtown the following day, really to be confronted with tanks and half-tracks and jeeps and National Guardsmen with bayonets all over the place, it really sort of provided the classic kind of confrontation between striking workers with nothing more than a picket sign and really what was the might of the armed forces of this city. And it was frightening in one aspect, and where the least bit of wrong action could really have triggered a situation that would have been tragic for many people.
Somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for rights.
At the time that I heard the news of Dr. King's death, we were still struggling to arrive at an acceptable compromise. So many times in issues of this type, a little bit more leadership, a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more vision, and a little bit more flexibility would enable you to deal with a problem. And yet, this time we were not, and we had to have the tragedy to bring us to our senses.
The City of Memphis recognizes the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO, Local 1733, as a designated representative for certain employees in the Division of Public Works.
The day that strike was over, that was the best part of my life.
All in favor of recommendation, let it be known by saying aye.
And I'm telling you the truth, you talking about a bouquet. It was black, white, they tied up on that stage, hugging and crying and hollering.
I win a whole lot in this strike because respect, that's the most important thing. They respect you as a man.
We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.